Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This was one of my absolute favorite MX-5 races I think I have ever run. It was just the most fun I've ever had on iRacing. And you'll see throughout the race there's a whole lot of action. Right off the start, it just is all bunched up in turn one. I've got this guy in front of me that has a bad connection and keeps disappearing and reappearing. And anybody that races in iRacing knows that that is the scariest thing you will ever see. But that being said, here momentarily, I'm going to get bumped from behind and spun out right there, which made me pretty frustrated at first, but ended up becoming a really fun race because of it. That obviously moved me to the back of the pack. I believe sitting 11th place at this point. So I knew, I was going to have to make up a whole lot of ground, which, it's really fun in some cases, especially when it seemed like the cars in this group were, not expertly piloted. There was a lot of lower tier drivers that I got paired with, which fortunately meant I was able to come back and catch up to these guys pretty rapidly. Whole lot of fun on this track. It's a track that rewards high speed, momentum, but also being incredibly careful with inputs. Especially this turn here, you see a lot of people spin in this corner because if you get to the outside lane, it's actually cambered off of the turn rather than into it, so it tends to break your car loose pretty severely. That turn there is a ton of fun if you carry momentum and then get back in the throttle pretty early. The car tends to just catch and float you through. So this is another turn where a lot of drivers have a lot of trouble keeping it together. You really have to stay off of the throttle and just allow the car to carry momentum through. Coming through this section, it's really interesting to see some of the lines that people take. I actually tend to kind of dive bomb that corner in most cases because the car just tends to stay more settled through there if you take the inside line versus trying to go outside and swing back through the apex. But this is a super fun track, Jefferson Circuit. I've really enjoyed this track over the last few days. Not by any means am I a top split driver. My lap times on this tend to run in the mid 54 second range. I've never turned a 53 or sub 54 second lap, where the top splits tend to run at 53.8, something along those lines. It's definitely not my fastest track, but it is probably one of the most entertaining ones to drive just because there's so much chaos involved with this. So I've already quickly caught back up to the guys that got around me when I was spun out. And a lot of that is due to traffic. These guys are not able to go at, their full pace. So I'm able to catch back up relatively quickly. And this is where it really just became tons and tons of fun. This rainbowish looking car in front of me and I battle for the next several turns. The white and blue car I just passed makes his way back around me at some point. It's just a continuing changing of position for the next few laps. And it was just really enjoyable. Every single driver was running really clean. Nobody's doing anything crazy. Nobody's doing inappropriate dive bombs. That guy just somewhat dive bombed me, but it was well placed. There's going to be several times where we all bump into each other and magically somehow seem to all get no incident points for all of these little bump and runs, which is somewhat rare for iRacing. They tend to penalize you pretty heavy. But it was just a really enjoyable race. It's something you so rarely get in the MX-5 Cup on iRacing. It just seemed like a really good group of skilled drivers. Now, of course, it is the MX-5 Cup. You see a lot of stuff like that there where he's, getting a little loose and having a hard time keeping it going in the right direction, but he's able to save it. I was not able to capitalize on that, but here again, you'll see that car in front of me take that inside line like I was talking about. I don't like to try to pass through that section because it does get relatively narrow, and there just tends to be a lot of incidents through there. So I usually try to keep my distance from the cars in front and behind through that section, and really focus on passing in this straight here. So as you can see, that guy lost his line and went a little wide, and now I'm right on top of him with the momentum. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have quite enough momentum to get back around him, so I went ahead and gave him some room and allowed him to get through this corner. But, this was just an enjoyable race. I can't say that enough times because it was just fun. We were so evenly matched and so, evenly skilled as racers. That it just made it super fun. These next several laps of just chasing these guys, there's going to be a couple more incidents there. He spins and gets loose, but unfortunately, I did bump him a little bit there, and he went off track, but just really didn't know where he was going, and it looked like he was going to save it, so I didn't want to let off too much there. So he got a little bump, but then we have this little incident here in front, and Mr. Blue, Red, and White squeaks back past me. So I go ahead and fall in behind him to get the momentum around that next car. And this is pretty much where the lap or where the race ends. So this guy that got around me is now in first place, and I am sitting second place. So now I will battle with this car for the next couple of laps, but unfortunately, if my memory serves me well, I am not able to get back around this guy, so end up finishing second place. But I will more than take that after a first turn spin. I cannot say enough times how much fun I had. I was mistaken. So that guy did lose control, and this guy got back around me, and he actually ends up being first place. But I cannot get back around this guy. I've got just too big of a gap, and we are nearly perfectly evenly skilled. So this guy's going to run the next couple of laps, and there's a few times where I get really close to getting back around him, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to make it stick. So really fun. Shout out to these other drivers. If any of you were in this race or recognize this race, I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys of what you thought about this particular race, and questions about the MX-5 Cup, iRacing, Jefferson Circuit, specific skill sets used, or even the sim rig setup that I use to run these races. I would definitely love to hear you guys in the comments, and I would certainly be more than happy to answer any questions you may have about any of those topics. So let's focus in on the last couple laps of this race, and thank you again for tuning in.
You're in third. Right side. Clear the right. car on the left. That was your fastest lap of the session. You're in second. That car is a lap down. Next car is the leader. White flag next time by a stripe. You got a slow car on the left. You got a slow car on the left. That car is a lap down. Right side. Clear to the right.
Thanks again for watching, and I appreciate you guys tuning in to Oversteer TV. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. All of that stuff will help build my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.